All right, so we're diving into something pretty big this time. Nobel Prizes, but not the usual like, ooh, yay, science.
Yeah.
This year, the Physics Prize. Well, it has everyone talking, and not just about like who won,
Right.
but about what it means for AI. Like
Yeah.
its place in science is suddenly a really big deal.
Yeah, it really is. It's definitely not your typical year for the Nobels. We're kind of seeing the lines blur a bit
Yeah.
between physics and computer science, AI specifically. And this year's prize went to John Hopfield and Geoffrey Hinton.
Mm-hmm.
And they're pioneers. Like, they really are the pioneers of neural networks,
Okay.
which, believe it or not, power a lot of the AI that, we use every single day.
Okay, wait. Neural networks. Like, hold
Yeah.
on. In plain English,
Okay.
what are we talking about here? This is like the tech behind maybe even medical diagnoses? I mean, it's
Yeah.
everywhere, right?
Yeah, you're exactly right. So imagine a computer that doesn't just store information, but it learns. It recalls from, like, incomplete information. Very similar to how our brains work.
Wow.
That's what John Hopfield achieved
Kill.
back in the 80s with his Hopfield network. Groundbreaking.
Yeah.
Absolutely groundbreaking stuff.
So Hopfield, he's like he lays the groundwork, and then Hinton comes in.
And Hinton takes it even further.
Okay.
He develops deep learning, which I'm sure you've heard of, and something called the Boltzmann machine.
Mm.
And these really changed how AI processes information. Imagine teaching a computer to, learn from experience
Right.
instead of following, like, a set of pre-programmed rules.
Yeah.
That's the magic that Hinton brought.
That's huge. So you'd think Nobel Prize in physics, like slam dunk, right?
Right.
But here's the thing. I heard that even Hinton himself was surprised
Yeah.
that he won for physics.
It's true, because Hinton's background is not your typical physics,
yeah.
trajectory.
Yeah.
He comes from computer science and neuroscience. There's even this funny anecdote about him. He joked about, like, struggling with, those complex physics equations back in college.
Oh, no.
Who would have thought? A Nobel Prize in the subject that maybe wasn't his favorite.
That's amazing. But okay, so this whole thing, this win has people asking, are the Nobel categories like a little outdated,
Oh, yeah.
for our world today?
That is the question. Because they haven't changed much since 1968, really, which is when the Nobel Prize for Economics was introduced. The categories are pretty much the same. Now think about the leaps and bounds, right? In AI, genetic engineering, quantum computing, these fields were unheard of a few decades ago.
It's crazy, like trying to
Yeah.
fit a square peg in a round hole, you know what I mean?
I know, right.
So shouldn't there be like dedicated Nobel Prizes for these fields?
That's what everyone's saying. There's a big push, and not just from the tech world, that fields like computer science,
Right.
which impacts all of our lives so hugely, deserves a spot
Absolutely.
at the Nobel table.
That's exactly.
A lot of prominent figures are saying it's about time
Yeah.
that the Nobel categories reflect, 21st century research.
But get this, the AI news at the Nobels doesn't stop there.
Oh,
The chemistry prize, also AI.
really?
Yeah, went to the creators of AlphaFold. That's this AI system that can predict
Wow.
protein structures, and it's a really big deal.
I can imagine because, proteins are incredibly complex.
Right.
They're involved in, well, pretty much every biological process. You name it. Fighting diseases, digesting food, everything.
It's like the blueprint of how things work. So if we can understand how proteins, fold, talking disease treatment, new materials,
Yeah.
drug discovery, it's huge.
Huge. Absolutely.
Okay, and this is but this whole AI thing has people worried too. It's like insanely powerful.
Right.
So there are tons of ethical concerns, and this is where things get really interesting with the Nobels this year.
Okay. I'm intrigued. What happened?
It's Hinton,
Sure.
Hinton himself. Really?
Is one of the people saying, whoa, hold on a sec.
Interesting.
It's like we're so excited about what AI can do. We're not really thinking about, like, should it be doing all this?
Yeah. It's like with great power comes great responsibility, right? And while we're obviously celebrating this progress in AI,
Yeah.
there are definitely voices urging caution.
Mm-hmm.
And Hinton is definitely leading that chorus.
So the AI pioneer is saying, watch out. Like, that's a big deal.
Right.
What's he worried about specifically?
He's really concerned about letting AI development just run wild, unchecked,
Yeah.
And he's not talking about some far-off future where robots are taking over or anything like that.
Right.
He's talking about the very real possibility that AI surpasses human intelligence, like, soon. And what happens then? The ethical dilemmas, that's what he's worried about.
It's like opening Pandora's box, right?
Mm.
We're unleashing this incredibly powerful thing, and we haven't even, like, read the instruction manual. Exactly. And it's not just some theoretical AI takeover. It's the immediate things we need to be thinking about right now.
Like what? Give me an example.
Algorithmic bias. Big one.
Oh, right, yeah.
Then there's jobs. What happens when AI starts doing everything and we don't have jobs anymore?
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the big one, someone's going to use this for bad stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
It's inevitable, right?
Okay, yeah, those are some serious concerns. So what can we do? I mean, AI is already everywhere. It's not like we can just unplug it.
Well, unplugging might be a bit extreme,
Mm.
but we can definitely be more aware, more critical, more demanding of the tech we create, right?
Okay, yeah.
For example, how about some transparency,
Mm-hmm.
especially in things like healthcare and finance?
Mm-hmm.
Those algorithms, we need to know what's going on in there.
Yeah, for sure. What about the bias thing? And the jobs being taken over by robots? How do we even begin to tackle those?
Okay, so algorithmic bias, we need a multi-pronged approach,
Right.
right? So first off, more diversity in the teams that are actually building these algorithms.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
Got to have different perspectives in there.
Yeah.
Then rigorous testing and auditing for bias.
Yeah.
And if we find bias, there have to be consequences.
Right, like accountability.
Exactly. Now, the job displacement thing, that's tricky.
Right. Everyone's worried about that.
But maybe instead of being scared, we think of it as an opportunity to, rethink work entirely.
Okay.
What skills do people need to thrive when AI is doing all the things we used to do? We should be teaching that now.
So we're not competing with AI, we're working with it.
Exactly. Let the AI do the boring, repetitive stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Then humans can focus on the creative, the strategic.
So it's like this Nobel thing, it's kind of a good thing in a way. It's got us talking about this stuff, which we need to do.
It's a wake-up call.
Totally. It's like, hey, we have a choice in how this AI thing plays out. It's not set in stone.
We're not just along for the ride.
Right, right.
We have a say in this.
So wait, we were talking about the Nobels. There's more to this AI story, right?
Oh, right.
Yes.
AlphaFold.
That's the one, the protein thing. That's blowing my mind, honestly.
It's a game changer, really. Imagine, predicting how proteins fold. It's huge for medicine. Huge.
Okay, but I gotta say, and maybe it's just me, but proteins, like I'm having high school biology flashbacks here.
Right.
Can we rewind a bit? Why is this such a big deal, this whole protein folding thing?
Okay, so proteins, they're the ones that do all the work in our cells.
Okay.
They do, everything. Transporting oxygen, fighting off, infections. But, and this is key how well a protein works, it all comes down to its shape.
Mm.
So if a protein doesn't fold right, if it's misfolded,
Yeah.
that's how you get diseases like Alzheimer's or cystic fibrosis.
So if we crack the code of protein folding, we could prevent, like, all these diseases.
Potentially, yeah.
Wow.
And that's why AlphaFold is so groundbreaking.
Okay.
Because, you give it the genetic code of a protein and boom, it predicts the structure just like that.
That's insane. So are we talking, like, designer drugs then? Tailor-made to, like, our genes?
You're getting it. AlphaFold can help us design drugs that are way more effective. They target the exact protein we want with fewer side effects because they actually fit.
So it's like having the exact right key instead of trying a million that don't fit.
Exactly. And this is all thanks to AI. It's incredible how far it's come.
It's mind-blowing. From, like, winning at chess to curing diseases.
Right. And we're just getting started, really.
It really feels like we're on the edge of, like, a whole new era of science.
Definitely. But it's not just about the discoveries themselves. It's the questions they bring up.
That's what I was thinking. Like, all this AI stuff, it's a lot to process.
It's a lot of responsibility, too.
Exactly. So, like, what does this mean for the average person? People who don't spend all day thinking about proteins and algorithms.
It means we all have a say in this. This isn't just for the scientists and tech people, We all need to be part of this conversation, asking ourselves, what do we want AI to do? What are our values? What lines are we not willing to cross?
It's about, like, finding that balance, right? Between pushing the limits and, like, remembering what makes us human.
You got it. And that takes real effort. We have to be willing to have these tough conversations, even if they make us uncomfortable.
Absolutely. Well, this deep dive has been, like, a roller coaster. We've covered mind-blowing discoveries, ethical dilemmas, the future of, like, everything.
It's a lot to take in.
It is, but I think the biggest thing I'm taking away from all this is that the future of AI, it's not some like predetermined thing. We actually get to decide what it looks like.
I love that. The future is unwritten. It's up to us to write it.
So until next time, everybody, keep asking questions, keep exploring, and most importantly, keep the conversation going.